Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming back my good friend Lar Park Lincoln. You may remember from House 2 and Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, who I had on several months back. Having her back on the show today to talk about my favorite subject. Not the one that you're all thinking of, but horror films. I don't get to talk enough about horror films with an actor or just a celebrity in general, and I'm going to have her on the show today to talk about horror and all that stuff. It's going to be pretty fun. Lar is an absolute sweetheart. You know, she's Southern and she's open-minded and has a great sense of humor. So, yeah, here is my new interview with Lar Park Lincoln. Hey, Lar, welcome back.
Oh, hi. How are you?
I'll tell you, I have had the most interesting month of my life, I'll tell you.
Oh, I want to hear.
Okay, so last month I went to LA for a week because I was in town for the Monsterpalooza Horror Convention, and I met up with a producer-director I met last year, and he and I talked about the screenplay that I wrote when I met him last year, and he told me he's interested in it very much so, but he asked me if I would play a part in a movie that he's about to make about the Italian mafia, and I said, sure. Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Super yay! When do you get to do that?
I don't know, sometime later in the year, I think, but I'm moving to LA in July, though.
Okay. All right. Well, you need help on that role. Let me know.
Absolutely. And then I come back, and my mom takes a fall at work, and now she has to have surgery on Friday.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Got a lot going on.
Yeah, I understand. I do too all the time. Seems like, yeah. Well, those are cool things.
They're cool things, yeah. But, wow, yeah, I mean, I don't know who else that would happen to.
Well, let's see. I am basically Lucille Ball, so I break something about every 15 minutes, either on my body or in the house. So I'm very used to that. My soundproof wall fell on me. I guess it's been about 8 weeks now, or 9 weeks ago, and I was all alone, and it fractured my rib and bruised my backbone. And I'm just laying under this sound wall going, well, this is a dramatic way to go if I can't get out from under this wall.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, yeah, I've been there, believe me.
Yeah. But everything else is going good?
Yeah, things are pretty good right now. In general, just busy, but good.
Yeah, it sounds like you're pretty busy keeping active with the teaching and all that.
Yeah, and I was just in LA. I think I told you that I was in LA,
yeah,
and Oregon, and then back in LA, and then home. So my schedule just gets a little crazy sometimes. Not always, just sometimes. Not always. So.
Yeah. So last time.
Tell me about your podcasting stuff right now.
I'm sorry?
Tell me about what your podcasting stuff is right now. You're interviewing.
Yes. So last time we talked, you mentioned that you're a big horror fan in addition to being a horror film actress and stuff. Right. And I'm so interested in that. Do you remember the first horror movie you ever saw?
Well, it was probably Hitchcock with my mother, and I didn't know it was horror. I just loved Hitchcock. So.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that. But the scariest thing I remember seeing was Jaws in a theater when I was like 13. It was very scary.
Yeah.
Still scared of those sharks.
Yeah. Oh, my God. The first horror movie I ever saw, I was about a year old. My parents got me so fucked up on this. They showed me The Shining.
Oh, that was a really scary
Yeah.
Really scary.
And this was like 1984, and then in 1987 we taped it over for Back to the Future, and I still have that tape. And if you rewind it all the way to the beginning, just before the PG graphics on HBO, you could see Shelley Duvall talking to the doctor, and it's spooky.
Oh my word!
Yeah.
Pretty funny. That's pretty funny though.
Yeah. Yeah, The Shining was my first one, and after that, they started showing me PG horror movies like Ghostbusters and Gremlins and Night of the Comet. And I didn't see a slasher movie till 1991 when I got to see the first Friday the 13th movie, and then I fell in love with the genre after that. I mean, I had seen Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4 and 5, but like in terms of like just straightforward slasher, Friday the 13th was my first slasher film.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I watched the original ones too. That's why I was so excited to get to play in one.
I'm finally going to interview Diana Barrows in a couple of weeks.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
Oh, does she still live in France?
She goes back and forth to there. Right now she's in L.A.
Oh, okay. My daughter lives in France, so we visited about that before.
Yeah. What are your favorite horror movies of all time?
Favorite horror movies of all time? Well, Shining was definitely up there. No doubt about that. Doubt about that. And let's see. Gosh, I haven't thought about it. Well, there's so many shows out. It's hard to think of what would be my absolute favorite. I was a big Twilight Zone fan. So I like the thinking kind of, scary mind game kind of films, really more than I like the blood and gory kind of films. But
Yeah.
I do love The Walking Dead. So. And I had a few students on them, so I'm pretty happy about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. I love Friday the 13th. That's my favorite slasher movie of all time. Dawn of the Dead, the original, is my favorite zombie movie.
Yeah. Who would think we'd still have so many zombies on TV right now?
I know, right?
You watched the series called The Last Ship?
No.
On, I think it's on Hulu, Netflix or Hulu. Hulu. And it's fantastic. It was, I think it's over. I think it had like 5 seasons. And it's basically the last Navy huge ship left that's out in the world researching this virus that's killing the entire world. And they bring a doctor on board to try to solve the virus. So it ends up kind of being like The Walking Dead on a ship. But it's really pretty fun. You might like it.
I'll check it out. Let's see. I love Creepshow. I love Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. As far as Supernatural, I love the House movies, obviously.
Yeah, I love the first one so much.
Yeah, it's funny. I went to, when I was at Monsterpalooza, I went to Kane's table, and I had him sign my House 1 poster, and he asked me, he said, "What's your favorite of all the House movies?" And I said, "The first one, but I also love 2 because of Lar." And he said, "Right."
Right. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Kane's wonderful. I just love him.
Yeah. He was over an hour late getting to his table because he was at the gym.
Were you in LA? Is that the last one you went to?
Yeah, Pasadena.
Yeah. Oh, I was in Pasadena too because that's where the Emmys were. So that's where I was last week. Yep, about a week ago. Friday, a week ago. So that was super fun.
Was that for the daytime Emmys?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I was a judge for it this year, so I really had a good time going. And the actor who played my boyfriend in Friday the 13th, Kevin Blair, he now goes by Kevin Spearsis. He had, I didn't judge his category, but I sat with him and his team, and he had a web series that he had produced and starred in, and they won 5 Emmys.
Nice.
It was pretty amazing. It's called After Forever. and it was just really pretty amazing. Pretty exciting.
I used to watch daytime soap operas with my mom when I was as early as 3 or 4 years old and stuff. It's no wonder I have gay undertones.
Who knows? So, I mean, but they also have lots of documentaries and all kinds of stuff. So you should look up this show, After Forever. It's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, we got Amazon Prime.
It's really special. It's a universal love story. And it just, it just has been done so well. So he deserved every single award. It was great.
Yeah, the producer I was just telling you about that I met up with, he has a movie on Amazon Prime that Donnie Wahlberg just picked up for theatrical distribution. Yeah, it's called American Warfighter. It's about post-traumatic stress disorder after coming back from the war.
Right.
It's a good movie. It's got kind of a made for HBO quality to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So tell me what you're doing with all your interviews. I know that we've been trying to get together for a little bit.
Nothing. I do them and I upload them, and talk about horror and stuff, and we have a lot of fun. I'm just so blessed and so lucky with the people I get.
Yeah, well, you're a fun interviewer too, and you know your stuff, so that always makes it interesting.
Oh, thank you so much.
So, do you know about the Fanboy 13 going on?
I sure do. I'm a huge contributor to it.
Oh, wow. Well, then you may know that I signed on.
Yes, I'm so happy about that.
It was really fun. I was talking to the writer just a little bit ago, and I said, well, I'm going to be talking with someone this evening. Can I say anything about the show? Because I didn't know how much she'd let out. And so she said, yes, I could. So this is her description. Let me read you what her description is here.
Okay.
It's pretty good. A horror thriller about an obsessed fan stalking women from Friday the 13th and Halloween. In the vein of Shakespeare's thriller with horror kills. It's really pretty good. I gotta say, the script is really quite fun, good, and we've got some twists in it that I was able to make happen for my character, which will be fun and surprising. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll shoot in the summer, late July, I think.
Yeah, I around the time that you and I talked, last time I sent in an audition video for it, and I obviously didn't get it. But what I did was I did a monologue from part 5, and I did it in a comedic way, hoping I would get like a comedic part so I can show that I'm funny. And Deborah already knows that I'm funny because I make her laugh on the podcast all the time.
Okay.
So.
Are you trying to do acting full time? Is that in your world?
I wouldn't say I'm trying to do it full time. I'm definitely trying to be in movies though, because I love acting. I love film and I love acting. And it's a passion of mine. When I get down to LA this summer, I'm going to see if I can get involved in theater stuff, because I did theater for years before my accident, and I want to get back into it. I miss it.
Well, yeah, that sounds good. I did a friend of mine here was doing a couple of shorts, and there was one that she did about human organ trafficking. And so there weren't any roles for me, but then there was one. I said, you know what, I could do that doctor. It was a pretty evil doctor, and they're shorts. It's just really tiny, but I said, so much fun. I've never gotten to play a doctor before, so did that, and they just got it set to the Black Film Festival in San Francisco. So I might go make an appearance out there and help support that project.
So,
I was a set coach on it too, so that was fun.
So ironic. I was indirectly involved in a human trafficking incident a couple of years ago and didn't even know it.
Well, how did it happen?
What happened was my mom and I had lost our apartment because she trusted her ex-boyfriend. He was a complete schmuck. So I moved into this this kind of halfway house slash group home for people with disabilities, and I was not safe there. I was nearly sexually assaulted in there. It was just a bad situation. I got out of there, and I just found out last fall that they got busted for human trafficking, and I didn't even know that was going on.
I've known someone that does traffic, and it's a really terrifying ordeal.
I know. It should be a movie, because I haven't seen really that many movies about human trafficking.
There are quite a few really good ones. One of my favorites, let me think of the name, Donald Sutherland, I believe, and Mia Sorvino, I'm thinking that's her name.
Yeah, Mira Sorvino.
Yeah.
Mira Sorvino.
Yes, yeah. They have a really, really good one that was, it was like a miniseries on it, and it was fantastic. It was done really well. But, yeah, there's been a few done on it. So it's a pretty serious crime, and it's been going on for way too long. You know, when you stay in a hotel, there's a hotline. Anytime you stay in a hotel, they ask you to take pictures of the hotel room and forward it to a hotline, and that's helping authorities identify places that are in videos and pictures when people are showing up that have been taken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a scary thing, you know. I mean, I just couldn't, you know, even begin to process how, you know, you get put in that situation. It could happen anywhere you go.
Can't imagine. We had a little girl yesterday, Dawn, an 8-year-old, walking with her mother down a public street.
Mm-hmm.
And the attorney pulled over to stole her, and they got her back, which is a miracle. Like, what is the matter with people?
I know, people suck.
No, they don't suck. Some are a little bit odd. Some have a lot of problems, that's for sure. Do you remember, onto something else, do you remember that I had the 2 poodles?
The 2 poodles.
Yeah, I always have standard poodles. Well, my oldest passed away, baby.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I know. She was 16 and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, and she took no pills. She was just really old. So now I just have little Charlie, and we're learning to adapt to each other.
Oh, my God. I know somebody whose dog just died who was 17 years old. I mean, those are long runs for dogs.
Long, long time. It is so strange. It's so strange, you know, having from a puppy to being gray and blind and deaf. And she was a little old lady, and she had all the things that she liked to do. It was amazing how strong a little lady that weighs nothing can be. She decides she's not going somewhere. And she just got to let the little ladies do what they want. I miss her so much. So I actually have her and her sister's photos of headshots on my studio wall.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cute. Pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was curious. Do you think that today's horror movies have gotten kind of dark and they're not as fun as they were like back when you were, you know, first doing them?
Well, I tell you what I find that I'm not liking as much is how everyone's thinking they have to make a movie very politically correct.
Oh,
and
that
it doesn't have to be. They're just movies, so they can just be fun or scary or suspenseful or whatever. You know, I don't think that every single project today has to be so down a political middle line. And you see things in the plot that are just there obviously for sponsorship or for some other reason. That frustrates me.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you. I think that they just have gotten to be too dark now, and I have seen a couple in the last few years that are actually pretty politically incorrect and pretty damn entertaining, I have to say. But for the most part, they're just, oh my God, they've become such pussies.
Yeah, some of them have, and you know, and it's all across the board, not just scary movies, you know. But I tell you something I saw last night that was scary. This is going to crack you up, but nobody would believe this. My friend and assistant for the studio is Becca. Yeah, she's an actress also. She's also in reunion. And so she was building in the set for the ballet Pinocchio.
Oh.
That was a ticket. And we went to watch it last night. She called. She's like, this is not like a ballet of Pinocchio. You got to go try this out. Go check it out. And so we went, and it was amazing. They blended ballet with singing with script and special effects on the stage, and it was fantastic. And yeah, it was geared for a younger audience, but older people liked it too. And so it was downright scary for those little kids. I was like, whoa. I was like, yeah, we need more of that. It was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
With the Texas State Ballet Theater, I believe, is who put it on. And we moved it to Fort Worth today. So it was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting it to be as strikingly interesting as it was. You know, it's been up here in 5 billion years. So when you think about it, children's fairy tales can be pretty creepy.
Oh, I wrote a first draft of a horror anthology movie, and I actually came up with another story I'm actually thinking of including in it. It's actually a parody of Pinocchio. Do you remember this horror anthology movie that came out in the 80s? It wasn't as big as some of the more popular ones. It was called Dead Time Stories.
No, I don't remember that. Dead Time Stories.
Yeah, it's a low-budget horror anthology movie, and so what happens is the guy is telling bedtime stories to his niece. It's the stories that we know, but it's for modern-day 1986. Like, for instance, there's a Little Red Riding Hood story, and it's about this Little Red Riding Hood. She's like a complete nympho and like almost prostitute-like and stuff. It's really, really funny. And so I wrote a parody of Pinocchio in the vein of that.
That's funny. What is this film that your friend said he might be producing shortly? What did you write about?
It's called The Summer of Trespass. It's about a lesbian Catholic schoolgirl, and no, it's not a comedy. And she moves into this apartment complex that's being haunted by her imaginary friend from childhood, who 10 years before, just before he became her imaginary friend for that summer, he was alive, and he was a security guard at that complex, and he was killed by trespassing teenagers. And so he's killing off all of her new friends just because they don't live there. And he's also killing off just anybody he sees who's trespassing, really. And it's a really dark and entertaining story, because I made him like Freddy Krueger and like Chucky. He's always got funny one-liners after he kills somebody, and he's really flamboyant and theatrical and campy, because that's what's missing now in horror. You don't have great villains anymore.
Not very many villains.
No.
I don't know. I haven't seen a good horror movie in a while. So.
Yeah, so that's what it is. There's a message in there. The message is who your true friends are, and knowing who your true friends are and stuff like that. Something that I've been struggling with for most of my life. So it's something, yeah, it's something that I can relate to, that I'm sure, mass audience could relate to as well.
So why did you have trouble with that throughout your life?
I have Asperger's syndrome, and I'm not a follower, and I'm not a joiner. I've always been a guy who's always done my own thing, and guys like to challenge that, and, because they feel threatened by that. They're always, afraid of people who are different and stuff. So I've always been a guy who's done my own thing, and I don't know what it is in the friendship department. I'm loyal to people, but very few of them are loyal to me back.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You probably have a lot of friends in the horror community, don't you? I mean, you're able to reach out to a lot of people and visit and say, hey.
Oh yeah, I'm able to, reach out to people that I've interviewed and stuff, and heck, I even got together with several of them when I was in town last month, and
Fun.
I had breakfast, lunch, and dinner with a bunch of people and stuff. Yeah. And then there's certain people in the horror community that I absolutely worship, but they think I'm a joke for whatever reason. They sure treat me like one. So it's hard for me to connect with them, you know.
Well, sometimes, it's just, there's just so many people. Sometimes people just don't really get to know someone. So
Oh yeah.
it can just take a lot longer. Sometimes you finally get to know someone, you realize they're super fun and cool, and not everybody will like everybody, but I know a lot of times, like for me reaching out to people, it's just I get busy or get tired after coaching or shooting or something all day and then don't get back to someone, so it's not always personal.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
But there's certain people, like who won't do my podcast for whatever reason, and I don't know why. And they do other people's podcasts, and they do a lot of them, And for
Well, that's a weird thing. That's an interesting thing you said that because, I think one thing that's important for all of us to realize that sometimes what we perceive is not really towards us.
yeah,
And sometimes it is. It's like
right.
I did the second show ever of Texas Frightmare.
Mm-hmm.
That they will not have me back under any circumstances, and no one knows why.
Really?
And I live here in Dallas. I can just drive over. And they have everyone in, and they didn't have Kane there for years and years and years, and then they had Kane the last 2 years and still didn't have me come over. It makes no sense, but if it's my own town right here, but if I were to really get upset about it, it would just be silly. So, who knows what their deal is, right?
Yeah, that is really weird. And I'll tell you, the last 3 years, I've been going to Monsterpalooza both times a year that they have it. And I wonder why a lot of people either don't come back in following years or they don't,
right.
or certain people don't get booked at all. And I've actually talked to a few people who have said that the guy who organizes the convention, he takes care of, patrons, but he doesn't take care of the guests very well. And he's burned a lot of bridges with them and stuff.
Oh,
and I was,
really tough.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting because to me it's the greatest convention in LA.
I've never been to it. No, I haven't been there. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. They just did their 10-year anniversary last year.
That would have been back when I was dealing with cancer when it started. So, yeah, I don't think I feel like I've done Monsterpalooza is what you're talking about, right?
Right.
I feel like I have been to one of their shows. Are they only in LA or are they other places?
No, just in LA.
Well, I feel like I have, but it does not ring any bells right now.
Yeah. What makes that convention so good is that it's not that pricey to get in like Texas Frightmare or some of the other cons.
Right.
And it's not an international con. And they don't do photo ops. They do table selfies and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
And the prices are pretty reasonable with everything they have there. They don't rip off fans like a lot of conventions do.
Yeah.
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 It's a pretty good one.
It's really hard for a lot of the vendors. I don't know how vendors make any money doing the conventions. It looks like it would be so expensive for them to set up and get there. And wow, they put in a lot of effort.
Oh yeah, they pay up to $200 to have a table at a convention, and I walk by and they just look really bored and really sad, and they're just like they're just talking to literally everybody walking by, even if they know the person.
No, I mean I guess they just I don't know, they must just love it so much that they I don't know why it seems so crazy and expensive, but it does for sure.
Yeah. When's the last time you did a convention?
I would think maybe it was December. Let's see maybe January. Every few months, yeah. Every 3 or 4 months, maybe I'll go do one. I like them. I think they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
I like it a lot. If they invite me to one here in Texas, that's pretty silly.
Yeah, they have a Comic-Con now. It's in Texas, and they actually had it in Sacramento last year. I actually got to go. For some reason, they're not having it in Sacramento this year. It's called Fandemic Comic-Con.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and that's an international one with the photo ops and stuff. And maybe they'll invite you in the future. Who knows?
Who knows? That's kind of fun. That's definitely a fun idea. I did get to go to Canada last year, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It was really fun.
Yeah, Fandemic is where I met that producer at.
Oh, there you go. Good.
Yeah, I was in line getting my photo op with Robert Englund. My mom walked around, and she struck up a conversation with him just because she thought he was cute. And
Oh, that's pretty fun.
and it was a blessing in disguise.
Why is that?
Because now he and I are, negotiating,
Good for you. Sounds like you have a pretty cool mom.
I do. I mean, she drives me nuts, but what mother doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, that's our job,
Yeah. You drive your kids nuts?
I don't know. My daughter's also an actress, so she's pretty dramatic too. So.
Oh, well, there you go.
She's got a fun show on right now on Netflix. It's called The Barn,
Mm-hmm.
and she's the lead in that. She plays a young investigative reporter.
Oh, my God. I got to watch that.
I'm pretty proud of her. The first, my daughter has dark eyes and dark hair, but the first scene of her walking up to the car in the beginning of the show looks so much like a scene I did in a union called Children of the Night, which was my first union gig.
Mm-hmm.
It was like our body language and everything was so much the same. So I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. But it was really super fun.
Wow,
So you got to check her out. Yeah.
dark eyes and dark hair. Okay, I was going to say, did she look like you at all?
Our faces look somewhat, we do look alike, but it's our mannerisms. Now, my son has white blonde hair and blue eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And Piper, her name's Piper Lincoln. And yeah, you'll have to check her out. She's pretty darn cool. She was in Paris, France, and was just home for a little bit, so that was great. We had to go wedding dress shopping.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was great. And she's pretty cool. She started working really young at I think it was about 8 months when she started working.
8 months?
Yeah, seriously. And then won Miss Texas Junior Teen. I also coach pageantry too, which it can sometimes be horrifying, but not always.
Oh my God! When I was growing up, I wasn't a normal kid. I spent all my time in front of the TV. I never did Little League or Cub Scouts or anything. I won some academic awards, and I was pretty proud of that. But I was always so jealous of the popular kids and what they got to do and stuff. And now as I look back, I'm glad I didn't do that stuff because so many of them turned out just as fucked up as I am.
Well, I think it's really pretty normal for kids to watch TV these days. The other day I saw these kids going to restaurants. They actually had coloring books and colors, and Piper and I were going, wow, that's cool. I'd like to see that. Because it was just coloring books and not electronics.
I know, and what the cool thing is? The older generations, the baby boomers, they get my generation who grew up in front of the TV and all that stuff, because they didn't have that. I mean, they did have a TV, but they had limits, and they didn't have VHS. They had to go watch movies in the theater or on the $1 Million Movie.
Yeah, it was like literally we had 3 channels.
Yeah, but they get my generation because they exposed us to that because they knew they didn't have that.
Right.
So they're a lot more understanding of that, and I think that's great.
Yeah. Funny. So what TV shows do you like to watch? Any series?
Let's see. I mean, I like to watch the old series that I grew up watching. I love Seinfeld. I love The Simpsons. The old Simpsons. The first 10 years, I love it, and after that, they should have ended it. Laverne and Shirley.
How about the rebooted one
Oh, nice.
Yes.
My favorite sitcom is Married with Children.
I read for that, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I was going to do Christina Applegate's role.
Really?
It was really fun because I had just played her best friend on a TV series called Part of the City.
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing her best friend, and then Married with Children came along. But, you know, she was perfect for it. I wasn't right for that role. She was perfect for it. Love her. Yeah. It's always so funny to look back at the stuff you almost got or didn't.
I know so many people have told me about stuff that they didn't get that just I can't believe. And they've even told me stuff that they got cut out of that is not written on IMDb.
Oh yeah, well I mean that does happen. You know, it does happen. Luckily, I haven't been cut out of anything. But I did forget I had done 2 projects. Now I've got to figure out which episodes they were so that he could put them on. Okay. Yeah, because it doesn't have Part of the City on there, and I guess started with Christina, so that's kind of weird. I'm like, well, where did that episode go?
I've been in 2 music videos. One I'm actually in. It was for a local band in San Francisco back in 2016. I'm in that video. You can see me. And then there's another video I was in 10 years ago, also for a Bay Area artist. I was cut out of that video because I had a falling out with the singer's friend who I was sleeping with at the time. So it wasn't a that wasn't a good experience.
My God. So you got cut out because you broke up with somebody.
Not necessarily break up. I mean, we just had a really bad feud on Facebook.
Oh. Yeah, see, I don't get involved with any of that.
I don't anymore, but back then I got into it a lot because it was brand new, you know.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I do not. But you know, I don't really have any problems with anybody on Facebook or social media. I really don't.
Yeah.
I've been very lucky. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get along with everybody for the most part, you know, but just there's always going to be, you know, trolls that come out of the woodwork and try to sabotage you for something, you know.
Right. Yeah. I know it happens a lot. I know that.
Oh my God! Last year, once this podcast, you know, had been getting established and everything, I had all these creepy guys uh, message me claiming to be podcasters too, and asking for the personal numbers of certain guests, and it was just creepy. And I was just like, oh my God! I seriously considered stop podcasting after getting that, but I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can't let other people stop what you do. You know, it's just like, you know, with Fanboy 13, you know, it's about stalking, but you can't live your life just because someone has bothered you, you know, or caused you inconvenience. You've got to just keep going.
I know, like Adrian, you know, she almost didn't want to do it, and I'm glad she changed her mind that she can, you know, look at it objectively, and it's not, you know, it's not exactly her own personal experience like she thought it was going to be, you know.
Right. Well, you know, I had a pretty bad stalker too. 6 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he shot at me in my house and missed.
Oh my God.
And yeah, it was very, very dramatic and very complicated. But you know, I just chose to not let that be a driving force, you know, in my world. Other than sitting with my back against the wall, which I do in restaurants. Other than that, I don't worry about it too much. You know, but no, it's a serious subject. But yeah, I mean, that's why I like how Deborah's doing the show. I think it's a fun way and an interesting way to deal with the stalker topic.
Oh my God. So it started when Friday the 13th Part 7 came out?
It started about 10 years after that.
Oh wow, it was a while.
Yeah, and then it went on for 6 years. Yeah. It was really, really crazy. It was crazy. And, you know, they call it crazy making, you know, because stuff makes you crazy making. So I definitely understand it.
Yeah. I mean, I've had people stalk me on the internet, but I've never, like, they never show up, everywhere I go and stuff. I'm thinking if it ever does happen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite them in and just disappoint them so they can go away.
That's pretty much what it's like. I mean, I always say, well, he finally shot at me. We're in Texas and he missed. I'm standing right there. So, yeah,
it's
to find the humor.
Yeah, that's a good thing. You can take that painful experience and turn it into humor, and I really applaud you for that, Lar.
Either that or I'm a little off. I don't know.
Oh, I'm a little off, so come on.
That's okay. We all I prefer people to be a little bit off and have a little bit of damage. I just love it when someone comes in. I don't take very many kids, only a handful, and I love it when they come in and they're like, well, my child has a little bit of dyslexia, and I'm like, oh, good, what else? What else is wrong with this child? They're going to be great. It's like, oh, please tell me there's problems here. Perceived problems, right?
Yeah. I dated a woman years ago who got attacked in her apartment with a knife, and she had this big old scar across her belly.
Oh, goodness gracious. That's terrifying.
Yeah, but she beat the shit out of the guy eventually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
She was tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that just scared the shit out of me hearing that story. I was just like, oh my God, that could happen at any time. It's just, ugh.
Well, and anywhere in the world,
Yeah.
Have you ever traveled overseas to Europe or anything?
No, but you know what? When I was in the hospital after my car accident, my mom said to me, "We got to go to Europe next few years," and I said yes. And she had some connections with somebody who worked at an airline who could get us there for free and stuff. I don't know if it's still good or not. But with my mom's surgery coming up and then me going to LA, I don't know when that's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, try to make that happen if you can. I mean, it's such an eye-opening experience. It's so wonderful to see the rest of the world, the planet. It's great. It's great. I love Europe. I love France and Amsterdam and England. I do. I just love Europe. I think it's great.
Have you ever been to Scotland?
No, I haven't been to Scotland. I've been to Ireland. Not Scotland.
I had a friend who lived in Scotland for 5 months because her half-sister was Scottish and she lived down there. And she said it was an amazing experience. And she ate an awful lot there. When she left, she was a lot thinner than she was when she came back.
The food was that good, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what she ate, though.
Interesting. I don't know. I love a lot of things in Europe, especially the healthcare in France. So unbelievably fabulous, and just wish we could have that here. Here, that's good.
I love a good Texas barbecue.
I do too. Quite often, I like a good Texas barbecue. We have to agree with you.
I had a friend from the Bay Area come down and visit me over here last week, and we went to this barbecue place over here that I'd never been to, and we had this plate that had tri-tip, pork ribs, beef ribs. It was so good.
Sounds good. Hey, where did you say you live again? I forgot. We've got 2-hour difference between us, right?
Redding, California.
Okay, yeah. I don't think I've been there.
Oh, don't. There's nothing over here.
Well, if I come through, I'll stop and have a Starbucks with you. How about that?
Oh, absolutely. You better come quick because I'm going to be out here in July.
Well, now, do you know where you're going to live in
LA? Oh God, I forget the name. It's good. I'm going to be staying with a friend of mine. I know that, and it's in pretty short distance to downtown Hollywood and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that'll be great. There's some really great places there. I have that program called the Hollywood Highway, which
Mm-hmm.
is a merging program for actors. So we were doing that this last trip out there too, and it's just so much fun. So I'll be making a lot more trips back and forth to LA this next year, and maybe I can see you there.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I would just be so excited.
So we will definitely have to keep in touch, and we do. You do a great job of keeping in touch, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yes,
I do a horrible job of it.
I've always been good at that. I think I get that from I think a little bit of both of my parents, but my mother especially, she's always been good at keeping in touch with people.
Moms are usually good about that, but I think I just have so many people that I talk to that whenever I have just a down moment, I kind of just stare at nothing, stare at the water or something.
Yeah.
My kids are very good at keeping in touch with people. I'm grateful for that.
Well, let me get to the fun part of the podcast before we wrap this up. There's a game that I play with guests. It's a 4 silly question game where I ask the question, you answer it, and then you ask me the question and I answer it.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Please. So scary.
No pressure. It's just fun silliness.
Okay. We can try this.
Okay. Lar, are you ticklish?
Yes. But I'm not sure where, actually.
Really?
Now that I think about it. Mommy, are you ticklish?
I am not only ticklish, I am baby ticklish.
What is baby ticklish? You squeal like a baby?
Yeah, I have like a knee-jerk reaction.
Well, I remember now, I thought I was ticklish, but I remember when I was a little girl, my mother told me to stop being ticklish on my feet, and so I did. It was mind over matter. And then I told my daughter the same thing.
But how do you stop being ticklish on your feet, though? It's like
I don't know. Apparently it's really mind over matter. It's not just before.
because my feet are very ticklish.
We'll go get a pedicure a few times, and maybe that will help cure them.
Yeah, well, I haven't done that in a long time. I usually do my own nails.
Well, you should just go run to the manicurist, because everybody needs a pedicure in this world. It would solve a lot of problems.
I agree.
Oh, gosh.
Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
It is an innie, and quite cute, I might say.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
It's an innie, and it used to be quite cute, but after my accident, with all the scars I have from my surgeries, I don't think it's as cute as it used to be.
Well, I don't remember what your accident was. What was it? It was a car, right?
It was a car accident, yeah.
What happened? What happened after that? Like, did you had surgeries and?
I had surgeries. They had to put a stent in my heart. They had to drain all this bile fluid out because I had gallstones
Okay.
and all this other stuff. And so yeah, I had surgeries. I had my gallbladder taken out, so I got all these scars on my belly.
Yeah. I have more scars than you do. I'm quite confident. And to me, they're just fine. They do not bother me. I have so many of them. So I could probably outwin a scar contest with the strongest, scariest men on the planet.
Well, I hope someday I do get to see your belly button.
Well, I don't know about that. I think my belly button's retired, but maybe I could get a belly button stunt double.
Okay.
That'll work.
That'll work.
Hey, I heard that Jennifer Banco was going to do the film too. She played Mini-Me.
Yeah. You could.
Sweetest thing. She's written me letters and cards. She's just a fun person.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was trying to get what's her name on Susan Jennifer Sullivan.
Yeah. She's passed away.
Really? Then it's probably a fraud who's been getting back to me.
Are you talking about who played the bitch in our show?
Yeah. Yeah.
She passed away a long time ago. Long time ago.
Okay, then it's a fraud that I've been talking to on Facebook.
Yeah,
Wow, I did not know that. I feel so bad now.
Well, no, don't. I mean, if somebody's been scamming you, that's horrible. I believe she died in her 40s.
Oh my God. What?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm not sure, but I believe so.
Do you know what she died of?
No, I don't. I don't know what she died of.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you know Billy Butler? William Butler?
Yeah.
He has a lot. He might have some information. I don't know if you visit with him, but
I've been trying to get him on. He hasn't responded.
yeah, well, everybody gets tired of it because we don't always have interesting interviewers.
Well, I am an interesting interviewer.
Yes, you are. And if I have one more person ask me how it felt to run away from Jason, I think I'm going to scream. Literally.
I never asked that.
I know. We get it all the time. You just go back to all my other podcasts and pick and choose what you want. Well, you know that John Beekler, our director, passed away.
Yes.
A couple months ago. So he was very close with Billy, and I haven't talked to Billy lately. We emailed a little bit, but I don't really know anything else about Jennifer.
I'll find out.
Really get any details? Yeah. Whoever's scamming you, if they are, you shut them down.
Oh yeah. Oh God, I've had a couple scammers. Oh my God. I wish I could tell you some of them. They were pretty bad.
Well, I'm sure. I've had people use my pictures on all their sites too, but just like other actors, But
Yeah.
what do you do? Just let it go. Don't mess with them.
Okay, back to the questions.
Okay, back to the question.
What color are your toenails painted?
Oh, they are bright red.
Nice.
What color are your toenails painted?
They are a blue-green.
From a bruise or from polish?
From polish. Somebody asked me earlier, are they blue-green because of fungus? I was like, no, I paint them. Yeah, the week that I went to LA, I painted them that color because it was leading up to Easter.
Did you ever see the video I posted when I painted a woman who was asleep, toenails on a bus?
No, I want to see it now.
The only time I've ever gotten an ugly comment, well, I've gotten 2 ugly comments basically in my whole life on Facebook, was when I posted this video of this woman who was sound asleep, and I was traveling with actors to go to an acting thing, and we were on these mega buses, which are these really, really super nice buses. And this woman was asleep, and her toes were sticking out underneath the rail when you go from the upstairs to the downstairs.
Right.
She painted her toes.
Oh my God.
It's funny. So the video is somewhere, and it just cracks me up. But yeah, you just never know what will happen when I'm around, because I do like practical jokes.
Oh, good. I love being a part of a practical joke.
I always think that I'm in a practical joke. Sometimes my life is pretty goofy. So
Yeah, I love practical jokes.
yeah, you'll have to find that video somehow.
I will.
It was so funny.
Here's my favorite question.
Do you have another one?
Yeah, here's my favorite question.
Okay.
Is there a stinky smell that makes you gag?
No, that makes me. Yeah. Yes, there is.
Mm-hmm.
Dog super bio fabulous pure freeze dried specialty dog food.
Oh.
It's awful, and he loves it. It's so good for him. It's called Dr. Marty, and it smells so bad, but it keeps Charlie happy. Do you have a horrible stinky smell that makes you gag?
I mean, there's consistent ones like farts, like that. But the worst one I ever smelled, and I'm so glad it's gone, is when I got out of the hospital, I had really bad athlete's foot.
Oh, yucko.
Yeah. And I'm a guy who played sports in high school, and I never got it once in high school.
But you get it in the hospital. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I have not had the best luck at the hospital. Not been impressed, but impressed with the French ones, actually. Those were fantastic.
Yeah, and the funny part is too, when the night before my accident, I got too tired right in the middle of painting my toenails purple, right?
Yeah.
So I had one big toenail that was purple on the foot that I broke, and it was there for, oh my god, 7 months, and then one day I just clipped it off and it came off, and then it grew back, 6 months later.
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of people like looked at that and they were like, "What the fuck?"
What happened to his toe? Right. Well, one time I was at the hospital and I had been knocked out with a concussion.
Wow.
And I was trying to explain to the doctors what knocked me out, and I kept saying, my poodle knocked me out. And she was a standard, a big poodle, so she jumped up in front and knocked me on the side of the neck and knocked me out. So I looked pretty silly in that hospital, because everybody thought it was a tiny little poodle, and I was really a big one.
Are you barefoot right now?
I am. I'm always barefoot. How about you?
I am barefoot right now, and I have
You say I am not pregnant, but I am barefoot.
and I have a joke that's a real toe curler.
Okay.
You know how you make your wife scream twice?
No.
You fuck her up the ass and then wipe your dick on the curtain.
That's an awful joke. That is an awful joke. No, not funny.
Okay.
Next joke. Next joke. Terrible, Tommy. Terrible. Are you going to be seeing any of us on the film as we shoot?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to be coming around any time of the shooting with Deborah?
I hadn't planned on doing that, but if I'm allowed to, I could.
Oh, that would be fun. You'll have to talk to her about that.
Yeah. Oh my god, I just can't believe, all these like people from the sequels in one movie, and then plus Dee Wallace.
I know. Oh my gosh, I know. My agent, when I first started working, they also represented Dee, and I never got to meet her, and they wanted me to play her daughter or a family member of hers in something, and they just really tried so hard to make one of those happen, and I wanted it to happen so badly. So I cannot believe I get to be in a show with her.
Yeah. Yeah, I've met her 3 times overall, and I interviewed her back in October, and then I met her again last month at Monsterpalooza, and she told me how much she enjoyed talking to me and how much I made her laugh. I told her that joke I told her that joke I told you about Cinderella last time.
Oh, I don't even remember. You'd have to tell me. I have no memory for jokes. I'm the worst.
Yeah, I told her that one, and she thought it was hilarious, and she said, "Ew, Tommy, ew."
Well, at least you know you're entertaining, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's always a good thing to be, even with half-painted toenails and bad jokes. I must let you go so I can work on my class schedule for tomorrow.
Oh yes.
Some of that is needing to be shot. So again, I will shoot them with a camera.
Do you use an actual like camera?
No, I usually just use the iPad in class. Yeah, it's really easy because it's easy to upload to their phones or a Dropbox or whatever. It's a lot easier than using the camera. So.
Yeah, it's funny. I used disposable cameras up until 10 years ago.
Okay, don't tell anybody that else because that sounds crazy.
It's not cool.
I probably still have some disposable cameras that need to be developed, and I'm not about to take them into a store. That would be terrible.
Okay.
You have a wonderful evening. I'm so glad you were able to work with me on time and crazy schedules.
Yes, I'm so glad. I'm so glad this was a lot of fun, and I appreciate your compliments so much. And
Thank you.
I would like to see you when we're in the same town.
Well, it could happen. You just Okay, you take care and send your mother the best of luck to me on Friday.
Oh, thank you so much. And I pray that she'll come out of this, and she will. She
No,
will.
I hope so. I hope everything goes well.
She's a tough Italian broad.
Okay, well, you take care. I'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Lar Park Lincoln. Ain't she a sweetheart? Yes, she is. She is one of the most fun, down-to-earth ladies I've interviewed on this podcast, and I really do appreciate the compliments she gave me. And she's just a sweet lady, and I appreciate you so much, Lar. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.